How's it going, guys? I want to thank everyone for bearing with me. Man, it's been a while since I posted a video on this channel. It really has been. It's been like more than a week and a half. I think it's more like that. Yeah, I had to get a new computer. My other computer was just, the motherboard went. It would just barely made the 2-year mark, but no one really cares about that because they're just like, where's the videos, Brad? Where is it? Well, you know, I was planning on doing a Raw review, the Raw from last week. I was all ready to go. You know, I was on my Thanksgiving vacation from work, you know, and I had the whole weekend, and then my computer just goes kaput. How do you like them apples? And I gotta tell you, I don't like them very much at all. No, sir. And I'll tell you what else I didn't really like. The AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming episode. The the Game of Thrones ripoff episode. It had really nothing to do with Game of Thrones. It really had nothing to do with Winter. It really had nothing to do with anything. Except for the obvious appearance of a man they call Sting. So, you know, we'll see. I'm going to try to catch up. I'm going to try to do the SmackDown from last week, because it's still relevant, you know, as long as I do it before the SmackDown this week, which I think I can manage. But I don't think I'm going to... I might talk about the Raw in the Raw review that I'm going to do as well, because I'll definitely review that show. So anyway, let's get into this show. And you gotta bear with me if I don't know everything, what's going on in the show. But I'm gonna give an honest opinion of what I saw. Because just think about something. If this truly was a good show, you know, I could just jump into it right away and be entertained. You know, either the promos are good or they're bad. The matches are good or they're bad. So, you know, of course there's gonna be people commenting on you. Well, you don't know what's going on. You haven't watched in months. And that's very true, and with good reason. But anyway, let's get into it, folks, right? So we've got the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. And basically the last two wrestlers in this match will end up fighting next week for a diamond ring, because reasons I don't know. But I really don't care. So I see old Miro in there, old Rusev. And, you know, of course everyone's saying, oh, AEW's doing a great job with this guy. But, you know, here he is in the Battle Royal, not even winning it. You know, I don't know. I've looked, like, I don't see them really doing much with this guy. And also that name, Miro. You know, compared to Rusev Clash, you know, it's just, it's bad. I get it's copyrighted, but... And the hair on this guy, the blonde, you know what that reminded me of? Do you guys remember in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Remember one of the Halloween episodes where Carlton dressed up and said he was Macaulay Culkin, and he had that same type of hair? That was what that reminded me of. I was like, holy shit. Miro just, he looks like trash here. You know, I mean, my God. You know, I'll say, like, compared to being in this Battle Royal, like, the wedding stuff looked like 10 times better. You know, and that's not me just going back on it because, oh, this is AEW. Listen, guys. You know, obviously the people who say all I do is hate on AEW and I'm a WWE mark. These people obviously... do not watch my WWE content. They don't seem to understand that I hate WWE and I dislike their current product immensely and have for years. So, you know, maybe it's more that current wrestling is bad and it's not just that, you know, I'm hating on AEW. But I will be the first one to say that AEW is much, much worse. So who does it come down to? MJF, which, by the way, here we go with a rant here on MJF, guys. He's not as good as everyone says that he is. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've been saying this. I said this from the first episode on Dynamite ever. Right? He was on an episode. I think he was. He was. And when he came out, I said, like, okay, this guy don't look like much, but the marks were like, oh my god, this guy is like the best heel of all time. He rules the indies. And I was like, no, I'm not getting the promo he came out there. It's generic, and that's basically what it is. It's very generic stuff from MJF all the time, and, you know, the character is not great. You know, it's like I said, it's just very generic heel. And for some reason, you know, people compare this guy to The Miz. And I know, like, MJF doesn't like that comparison. I think he's commented on social media. Sorry, guys. Sorry to Jim Jefferson and, you know, and a few other people, like, on my social media who do not like The Miz. But The Miz is 10 times, 20 times, 50 times better than MJF. Better promo skills, better in-ring skills, because he also is, like, not the best in the ring. So I'm going to say, like, you know, if you don't have both, that's pretty bad in this business. You know, if you really just don't, you know, and the look is like, okay, you know, he's not a bad-looking guy, but, like, he's not, like, star material. I mean, I look at The Miz, and I'm sorry, whatever people want to say about The Miz, I still stand by what I've said for years. The Miz looks like a star, wrestles like a star, he talks like a star, he is a star, and he's more well-known than old MJF over here. But anyway, Orange Cassidy and him in the ring together. And he eliminates MJF's, you know, bodyguard, Wardlow. And get ready for it. Huh? Like, what? This little schmuck, this little nothing, this little, you know, disgrace of a professional wrestler. There, I said it, folks. I did. You know, this guy right here. This guy. You know, okay, so you didn't like... Well, he couldn't dive over the ropes with his hands in his pockets because, you know, he's in a battle royal, so I guess that wouldn't make a lot of sense. But, you know, he actually kind of wrestled serious for once, and he's just a small guy. And he, like, dumped Wardlow over the top rope, and, you know, meanwhile, you know, like when they do those flashbacks, like in cartoons, and you just see all these scenes running by you, I'm thinking of every single Royal Rumble or Battle Royal match, even to the present day, even where WWE has lost sight, and you had things like Finn Balor beating Roman Reigns and Lashley and stuff like that. I think back to, like, even recent Royal Rumbles where you just would not see that smaller guys throwing bigger guys out like they're nothing, like they weigh like 190 pounds. Cassidy threw Wardlow out like he was throwing out a guy his size. And I'm just saying to myself, no. Unacceptable, not buying it, no good, get it out of here, folks. Don't want to see it no more. This is complete garbo to the umpteenth power. And I'm not joking. I am not kidding here when I say that this looked like complete bullshit. And, you know, so these guys are going to wrestle next week. Is that what it was? It wasn't very clear to me. But, yeah, I guess that's the thing. So we're going to have an MJF Orange Cassidy match. I'm sure there's going to be comedy. It's going to be back to jumping out of the rings with hands in pockets. Like, what is the appeal of this guy? Why do AEW fans like this guy? What is the appeal? He's not funny. He doesn't have a look. He wears sunglasses. Ooh, there has not been like 100 other wrestlers that are far superior that wear sunglasses. Anyway, let's move on here. So you've got Chris Jericho defeating Kazarian, and you got like MJF trying to throw the towel in. I'm not really too sure what's going on here. He tried to screw Jericho over, but Jericho didn't realize it. I almost didn't even recognize Kazarian for some reason. I don't know what's different about him, but anyway, you know, like until I looked at the match, I was like, oh, Kazarian, okay. You know, I just feel like looking at this, I don't see like a former world champion here. I just see a random guy in a match, you know, and there was some dissension in the ranks in the inner circle. And, you know, I've got the feeling that this inner circle was supposed to be like the next NWO or the next DX or the next even Evolution. Wasn't even good enough to be Evolution. I mean, guys, like this group here, these guys that I see, they're just like, they're not good. It's not a good main faction for the show. I like Jericho. I always will like Jericho. Jericho is still Jericho. Chris Jericho will always be him, which is a talented veteran Hall of Famer that is just, you know, he's a legend in every single way. And AEW should be happy to have this man. I mean, undoubtedly the best person they have on the roster, bar none. Jericho is great. You know, he's older and still, you know... and the thing is, even like people are saying that this guy, you know, is like out of shape. I see what they're saying. Yeah, he's got a bigger belly, but like I gotta say, like, guys, his arms are detailed. Like, he's actually in pretty good shape. So, you know, as much as I'm making fun of AEW and laughing at it profusely, you know, I can't say that I dislike Jericho. You know, how they're using Jericho, yes, but I can't say anything bad about this guy as a talent. You know, he's trying his damnedest, you know, and I understand, like, Jericho wants to work with people, he wants to give back to these guys, but, you know, I do like Kazarian, don't get me wrong, I've always liked this guy since TNA Impact, but, you know, the ship has sailed on this guy. You know, I don't know what would have came of him if he was more patient in WWE. You know, he wrestled like 3 Velocity matches. I'll never forget that in like 05, and the guy was gone. So I don't know. I think he probably would have went the same way as Paul London and Kendrick and all those guys. Well, Kendrick came back, but that's besides the point. They're still doing nothing with them. Anyway, you know, Jericho beats him. It's the Judas effect, which is still a bad finisher. I am sorry, guys. How do you go for... you know, I know I said this in the past, but it's been a while since I've talked about Dynamite, so bear with me for a moment. I feel like ranting. I gotta open up my rant glands and just get it out. So, you know, this is the thing. How do you go from the Walls of Jericho, the Lion Salt, the Code Breaker, all these high-impact moves, great submission moves that look great and fancy, and you've got this elbow, like, sorry, no, that is not a good finisher, and I'm very surprised they've stuck with it, and that the AEW fans actually mark out for an elbow. Like, I've got a feeling with the AEW fans that if a WWE wrestler did that, do you guys not think that people would absolutely just turn on that wrestler? Don't you think they would be like, oh, he's using an elbow as a finisher? Don't you think that they would just completely lose their minds and be like, oh my god, this guy, he's using an elbow as a finisher? You guys know that that would happen. But, you know, it's being done by an AEW wrestler, so it's absolutely fine. No one is going to have any problems with this. People are just fine with it. Oh, that's just all fine and dandy. You know, it's a different set of rules, it seems like. You know, and we're going to get to that in a moment, folks, when we talk about the man they call Sting. The Young Bucks are in the back, and they're talking to this other group that comes up on them called the Acclaimed. And guys, you know, I know I've talked shit about the Street Profits, but after listening to the Acclaimed shout World Star in the background and do their little rap, I will take the Survivor Series promo from the Street Profits. Go back and listen to that rant for my Survivor Series review this year. I will take the Street Profits. I will take the Street Profits clothes 10 times, all talking at the same time, like you turned them on like the talking, you know, Santas in a store during Christmas time. You know, you turn them all on, we wish you a Merry Christmas. You know, I will take Street Profits clones talking over each other in like a montage, like having 100 links on YouTube opened all at the same time, and they're all a different video. I will take that than listening to the Acclaim. These guys, in such a short amount of time, like 2 minutes, it's such a short promo. These guys, I don't even know who they are, but they made me dislike them in an instant. That's all it took. It only took 2 minutes. 2 minutes for me to just totally dislike these guys. That's quite a feat. Usually it will take like a few weeks or so, but here, I fire up the video here on YouTube and I'm listening to the promo and I already dislike them immensely. So good job there. Then you've got, what were their names? H2 or something like that. They come in, Jack Evans is a part of that group, and I don't know, like, all these groups coming in, and they're all like, who would care about any of these groups? And it's so obvious that, like, this is what happened to Private Party? Are they even on the roster anymore? What happened to those guys? Now, all of a sudden, we've already moved on. We've moved on to the Acclaim, who are just, like, more ripoffs of this same hip-hop, street-style type of group that they're going for. And they all suck. At least the sucky one in WWE is 10 times better. And that is really saying something. Because have I not really expressed my dislike for the Street Profits? I think I have. I definitely have. Anyway, we've got Britt Baker defeating Layla Hirsch. And a few things here. After listening to Britt Baker's promo, just looking at Britt Baker, I'm not going to say, like, she's not an attractive girl or anything, but, like, I just look at all the girls, and I have to say, like, once again, even people I dislike, like Bayley and Sasha Banks, I even feel like when I look at them, that they seem like they deserve to be on the show more than Britt Baker. This Britt Baker chick, she tries so hard. And they know that they, like, have nothing there, but they're still making like she's the face of the division. They're still making like this is like your Trish Stratus. This here is your Lita. This here is your Charlotte Flair of AEW. And like all those names, like think about like if they're up here, like they're all the way down here. Like they're bottom basement, bargain basement levels right here when it comes to Britt Baker. This match was just terrible. It was sloppy. It was bad. And just, I gotta say, speaking of finishers, you've got Britt Baker with that mandible claw thing. Like, because she's a dentist, they gotta get the dentist reference in there with her putting, it's just like she's just pulling, on the bottom, like, lip. It just looks so stupid, and paired it up with just everything else, the bad promos, the bad match. It's the complete Britt Baker package. It's just a complete disaster. That's how complete it is. So this, I don't know, they try with her, then in the end, Thunder Rosa runs, and I'm familiar with her from NWA Power. That is kind of like when I stopped watching when she did the run-in, and they were doing all those like vignettes with her. That's when I stopped watching Power, because it was just like too much wrestling, and it like wasn't good enough to really hold my interest. Like, I tell you the truth, I think I'd rather like review this show and make fun of it. NWA Power is more like, it's just not like, it wasn't horrifically bad, but it was kind of just boring, like not really in like it's so terrible, but it was just kind of like I just don't really care for it kind of show. Anyway, I don't even know what's going on with Power. I think they've been doing some other NWA style of show. It showed up on YouTube, didn't bother with it. Then we get Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin defeating Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. But speaking of NWA, I remember praising Ricky Starks. I said that this guy had good promo ability. He's in AEW now, so I don't know what's going to happen with this guy. I'm probably going to assume that, he'll probably be an asset to them, sort of. I don't really know that much about this. I didn't see enough of him in NWA. What I did see of him seemed promising. And of course, the AEW marks are all over because they're just over. Anyone that makes it on the AEW roster is gold. At least when it comes to WWE, you've got some of the fans at least say that, like, some of them are good and some of them are bad. They don't just praise every single wrestler on the roster. I mean, like, just blind followers. That's what I gotta say. As annoying as the WWE fans are, somehow, some way, the AEW fans manage to be that much more annoying. That is truly impressive. I just don't know how you guys did it. But, if that was what you were going for, if your goal was to be more annoying than the WWE fans, pat yourselves on the back because you've won that contest. You've won it wholeheartedly. Congratulations to you. Yeah, you don't really get any award. That's basically it. That you've become very annoying. So after the match ends, you've got Brian Cage doing the run-in, who I like. Still, after seeing him get beat by Tessa Blanchard, that's still like, I get that they could undo any of that. Taz is out there. He's managing Brian Cage. I'm familiar with that. I saw little clips of that. They hold the Arn Anderson back. And then Sting comes out. And everyone just stops. Comes out. And, I don't know what it was, but I get it that JR is older. But, like, he's almost like the same age as Tony Schiavone, I think. But JR, I could just sense that he just wasn't feeling it. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, Sting, he's coming back for the umpteenth time. You know what I mean? Like, guys, with all due respect to Sting, and I love Sting, and he's one of my favorites of all time, but, like, just, after the WWE run, seeing him in TNA, it's just like, okay, how much does this guy really have left in him? And I do like seeing him, but it's a difference between seeing Goldberg, like, wrestle on the pay-per-view, which still feels special to me. And that is the part where I will say, that is something that I will say. Like, the same thing when RVD was in TNA, it was like, it was, a bad era for TNA. And I just, when I used to review the shows with him on it as X Division champion, I wasn't feeling it. But remember when they announced him coming back? I was like, oh, yeah, this is awesome, so, yeah, I'm sorry, but I do have that, and I'm not, I do have that bias, and I'm not scared to admit it, I'm not ashamed to admit it. WWE is the historic company, so yes, it does feel more special when a wrestler comes into the WWE for me. Of course, I'm not going to make any qualms about the fact that they fucked Sting's up, his WWE debut up, more than, I would care to admit. But then again, I never care to admit much or omit anything. I always admit it. So, yeah, Sting's run was a complete disaster. They jobbed him out to Triple H. That goofball Seth freaking Rollins, messed him up medically. So I don't blame him for not going back to the WWE, but I'm going to tell you something. There's dozens of Seth Rollinses in AEW that are like 10 times more dangerous. So, Sting, I don't know what you're doing, man, but yeah, this is a bad move. But anyway, he comes out and he just stares at people. Okay, I like the snowfall effect. Good, that was good. I will admit that. I like the entrance that they did better for him here than they did in WWE. It was, both theme songs are not good. Like, his music in WCW for Crow Sting was great. You know, but like these themes are just like not great. And even the one that Jim Johnston did, like, it was okay, but like for a major star like Sting, I was kind of like really let down by that composition. Anyway, the snow, though, it was a good effect. I really liked how they worked on that, and I'm kind of impressed that they managed to do an entrance better. But like him coming out, now I get it, you know, like when Sting debuted at Survivor Series, he just stood on the entrance ramp. So here he just stood on the entrance ramp, but he came down the ring and he stared at people. Like, wouldn't it be awesome if, like, Brian Cage went for a clothesline, he slugs him with the bat, like, in the stomach? Like, can I get something? You know, if they're trying to be better than WWE, that is something that would require minimal effort, but actually be, well, I don't know, kind of cool, maybe? Like, that would have been like, wow. And the thing is also, like, what Vince Russo said on his podcast, how are they not promoting this? How are they just like assuming people are going to watch their crummy show to see Sting? Like they would actually wade through like an hour and a half to get to this moment. You know, it's good for them and everything. It's good for Sting and everything. But yeah, man, like this is surprising to say the least. I mean, I get it. Tony Khan's got a lot of money. But, oh, by the way, I've been reading things about Tony Khan. This guy is pathetic. As much as people want to talk shit about Vince McMahon, and he may be an asshole for what he did to the wrestlers with Twitch and all that, and you could, you know, say all you want. But this Tony Khan guy, he's a fraud, and he makes no bones about it. This is like a child, like, running a wrestling company. After you compare him to Vince McMahon, you really begin to appreciate Vince McMahon for the businessman that he is. And even though he's made a lot of colossal mistakes over the past decade plus, still a better businessman than Tony Khan. At least he knows not to fully cater to the smarks and the marks and all that. So yeah, Sting comes out, stares at people. Okay, like, yeah, you have to, I'm sorry, but like after WCW and all that, you know, like you have to up the ante a little bit. I'm sorry, but you can't just have them come out there and stare at people and go face to face with Hobbs and, you know, okay, Cody has a little name recognition there, you know, but face to face with Darby Allin. This is the best that they could do. Face to face with Darby Allin. Darby Allin. I'll say it again. Darby Allin. Sting. Darby Allin. It's just like, it's like incompatible charges. Like, it's like two positively charged magnets. Like, it just will not go together, folks. It's just not working. So yeah, is it a good acquisition? Of course. Sting makes money, you know, maybe a few people get wind of it, they tune in, they see how crappy the show is, they never tune in again, but hey, you know, they'll get the ratings up for 1 week through word of mouth. Then backstage we get Shida doing this Sid Vicious style promo of "Can I Start Over?" Okay, I get it. You know, you have that other girl, whatever her name is, the other scary one that kind of reminds me of Rosemary from TNA, from Impact. Some pipes dropped off, like in the distance, they fell over, and she stops in the middle. You know, she says, "Can I start over?" And it was I'm telling it to you way more awkward than how it actually played out. Like, watch that promo. That's the kind of promos you get here. And I get it, you know, broken English and all that. That's all fine and well, but, you know, I feel like they're really trying to make this girl into Asuka 2.0. And obviously, you can see from here it's not working. They try to make her kind of cutesy and everything, like cute little Japanese girl and all that, but it's not working at all. This was just terrible. This was awful. This was really, really a bad promo. That was like a joke. It was meant to be funny, but it wasn't. There was no charm to it. It was really, really bad. Okay, so on to the main event. Moxley cuts a promo. It's kind of like the same promo that he always does. And then we have the match. Where Don Callis comes out in the middle of it. You know, it's the same thing. Kenny Omega hits a bunch of knees. He gets the microphone. Somehow Don Callis got it over to him. And he hits Moxley with the mic. And they finally give Omega the belt. And months ago when I last reviewed this show, I said how, you know, Kenny Omega was said to be like one of the best in the world. They weren't treating him as such. Well, now they've finally given him the belt. And this is the stage where things start to go south for AEW. Because you no longer have, you know, the WWE, reject in Moxley. Okay, it was his decision. Maybe it's wrong to call him a reject, but you get what I mean. You know, he's a second-hand used good. You know, he's kind of like WWE Goodwill. They just kind of just passed him off to AEW because he didn't want to re-sign. And you had Jericho. You know, the name speaks for itself. You kind of knew you were going to get a good champion out of him with the promos and everything and the ability in the ring. But now you've moved on to Omega, which is the big indie king right here. The big, you know, New Japan guy. And this is the stage of AEW where I'm telling you, they're going to go even more south. And now they're doing this really, really stupid thing where he's going to be on Impact now. So, like, I don't know, they're going to be crossing between shows, and I don't know why this is a good thing, but I think this is being a bit too friendly to Impact. Like, you're going to be sharing viewers that maybe might end up watching Impact. And I'll tell you something, I've watched Impact, and I gotta tell you, a lot of times it's way more of an entertaining show. Like, seriously, like, I'll click on clips like when they brought in Glenn Gilberti, and when, you know, Brian Cage was the champion, and just even, I gotta admit, even watching the thing with Tessa Blanchard, like, at least that stuff was entertaining. It, like, got me watching. So now in retrospect, even though it was terrible seeing her as the champion, it was like, okay, I really wanted to watch this. Like, I wanted to watch it and make a video on it. Like, now it's just like, you're gonna just give Omega the Impact. And, like, I don't know how they're gonna do this cross-promotion thing. But I got a really bad feeling about it, that it's not going to work out the way how they think it's going to, where it's going to, like, benefit both companies. I think that's what they're going for. You know, they've got a relationship with Don Callis, and I hear it's a lot of Jericho, because Jericho has a lot of stuff. Like, Tony Khan just listens to people. He is an empty vessel. That's what I'm saying. It makes you long for Vince McMahon, in my opinion, because at least with McMahon, he's a bit more stubborn. He's not like Tony Khan, where just like, okay, well, what do you got? What do you got, guys? I'm all ears. You know, just like Tony just looks like a wimp. He sounds like a wimp. And he acts like a wimp. I mean, just these wrestlers are just, he's mesmerized by the wrestlers. Like, at least with Vince McMahon, he doesn't get starstruck by his own talent. He realizes he's their boss. He acts like a boss, not like a friend. You know, I think anyone who's actually, like, worked in life kind of sees what the problem is with, like, sometimes a boss being too friendly to an employee. You know, it will not only create jealousy, but will also, you know, just not be a good idea for that boss or that employee. Because it's kind of taboo. It really is. And that's really on full display here. So yeah, there you go, guys. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing is too, I'm not ending this yet. because I got to talk about the reactions. So, you know, Don Callis in the parking lot, he says, like, watch, like, I got to say, when he won the title, like, okay, Shivani sounded like a little surprised and excited, but not much. And Ross was like, you can just tell that Ross was not for this decision. It's almost like Ross was like, keep the title on Moxley, please keep it on Moxley, but like, you know, Don Callis and whatever is friends with Jericho, and Tony's already made his decision. You could hear it in your voice. JR has been at ringside, and he's like me. He knows the good stuff. He's watched the good stuff. He knows the good stuff. He sat at the ringside area for like classic matches in WCW. He has sat there at ringside for some of the early Manias and the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. He has watched some of the greatest matches and watched some of the greatest stars of all time and sat there for some of the greatest promos ever cut. And he has to watch Omega, Kenny Omega, win the world title. That's what he has to do. He has to sit there and stomach Omega winning the title. And, you know, you gotta admit, like, he just kind of sees this curly-haired goof. And by the way, I love when Jim Cornette calls him Laurence Olivier. I just think that you know, I'm not a big fan of Cornette and him threatening, you know, Russo's life and all that. But Cornette, when he loses his mind, like, that guy is just mentally unstable. But he's a real trip to listen to, I gotta tell you. Anyone who doesn't listen to some of Cornette's rants, gotta listen to this guy. He, like, loses his mind over wrestling. And it is hilarious to listen to. So, and his Kenny Omega rants are just, they're top of the line, really. They're really elite, grade A stuff. So, yeah, guys. Anyway, that is my opinion on the show. Sting is in AEW. That was obviously the biggest moment of the show. But aside from that, yeah, AEW still sucks. And I still don't like it. And guys, thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. And guys, thanks again. I'll see you next time.